Good Saturday morning, everybody. It's already been a bit of an adventure, but when isn't a Saturday an adventure? It is Saturday Sampler Day, so I got up early, which that part's not unusual because when you hit a certain age, you start getting up early. So I got myself ready, got Riley all settled, and went to Saturday Sampler this morning. And I got donuts ahead of time because of the donut place that's next door. Yeah, still good, still good. Trying to tell myself no. This time I had a cream filled donut, which I was like, what are they filled with? Because they had the donuts at the bottom, they just had glazed, and then they had chocolate topped. And I was like, what are they filled with? Because I've seen different fillings with them. And they were like, you can fill it with whatever you want of our choices. And we fill it like right then and there. They don't pre-fill their stuff. And I was like, ooh, that sounds good. So I basically made myself a Boston cream. I used their chocolate topped one, and I had it filled with custard, and it was good. And it filled very nicely. If you've been to some of those donut places that they fill it with the cream, you get like a teaspoon or something of the cream in there. No, this stuff was like pouring out. So their donuts are so good. I am glad that I only go once a month to Saturday Sampler, so I only can get them once a month, and they close by 2, so it's not like I can go in the afternoon. So yeah, it was good. Saturday Sampler was fun. They made a comment, why haven't I done show and tell? And I was like, the same thing has been sitting on my long arm since July. And they were like, oh. I was like, what's even worse is it's a table runner. Like, it's loaded, it's ready to go. I just haven't had in my mind what I want to actually quilt on it. And I'm not unloading it to load something else. So I have to get the motivation. Maybe I will start it when my sister's here so they can actually see the fun effort that goes on a long arm. So maybe I will do that. And then that way they can see that it's a lot more work than they think. I'm not doing an edge to edge on it. I want to do a little bit of custom stuff on it so that they can see me do some of the custom stuff on it. So we'll have that. So who do we have in the chat? We've got quite a few chatters right now. We have Michelle being firsties, who just says hi. Hi, Michelle. We have my friend Steven of the Idiot Quilter, who says hi, Russ, and all in the chat. Good morning, Julie, and good morning, Ingrid. How are you two today? Some of my favorite peoples are in here. Ingrid goes, donuts? I love donuts. So Ingrid, I'm going to have to see how well these donuts travel and last and everything. Because I will bring some up to the retreat as long as they don't go stale overnight like most donuts do. It's a new shop that I think they opened probably about 4 or 5 months ago, right next door to the quilt shop here. So I need to put it in my list to buy some of these donuts, and I will bring them up to the retreat. And yeah, I think they're going to be good. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Amy. How you doing today? Amy's like, sorry, I missed it, but what donut shop? Amy, if you're looking at our local quilt shop and you know that little shopping plaza to the left where they were years ago, there's that Pizza Hut that's in the corner, which I don't know if that's still a Pizza Hut or if they're getting rid of it. But right next to there it's called Marietta Donuts. And like, they have been raving about them since they opened. They brought in like samples a couple times, and they are good. So next time that you're at Saturday Sampler, either go there before or after and get your sugar fix. Good morning, Mona, balloonist, who says hi. She's on her way to a Jelly Roll Day event. That sounds fun. So today, I am working on a what a surprise table runner. So, this came in the subscription box from Fort Worth Fabric Studio. And when I opened it and stuff, I was like, what is the difference between version A, which is this, and version B, which is this? Which I was cutting and looking at the instructions, everything looks almost exactly the same. But the difference is version A uses a fussy cut of fabric, whereas version B is just whatever fabric. And because you're fussy cutting, version A says you need more fabric for that portion of the border than version B. I'm sorry, 1 and 2. I get my letters and numbers mixed up sometimes. So I have everything laid out. And if for those of you who have seen my vlog, and I showed, this is the front of it. This name right here, Michael Davis, caused me to kind of lose it in hysterics, because I know 3 people named Michael Davis. And then this is the like 4th Michael, maybe this is like the 5th or 6th Michael Davis that I have seen in writing and stuff that I don't know personally. But, you know, a lot of people are like, you know, the name John Smith is a very common name, which there is one of those out here in the quilting world. But you wouldn't think that Michael Davis would be that common of a name. Apparently it is. So I have all my fabrics laid out, so I don't have to go and look back at the instructions for stuff. So we can kind of start sewing. So I have everything cut. It uses a charm pack, so those are obviously all pre-cut, and I believe, you know, they're using it as a 5-carat crystals because, you know, copyrights on charm pack. So however you get your 5-inch squares, and you end up using 40 of the 42. And this is the top and bottom border, so that's why these don't look like 5-inch squares. But these are really long, so I want to get them sewn first, because I am running out of bobbin, and I don't want to run out of bobbin in the middle of doing my rows of 5-inch squares. Come on, get lined up. There we are. So that's one side. Amy says, oh yay, she's going to go check out the donuts. They close at 2. So if you're going to go check out the donuts, make sure you're either going in the morning when you do Saturday Sampler, or if you're just going to go on a regular, I'm going to do this on my own trip, make sure it's before 2. Good morning, Landa, who says, hey, Russ and Chad. How you doing, Landa? With these really long seams, what I like to do is I'll get a few stitches started, then I will pull them. I mean, they're both cut the exact same size, but I am basically stepping back half a step just so that I have the full length of fabric in my hand. And I can kind of keep it at even tension. The other option is pinning every, couple inches. And we know how much I love pinning. And thanks to the magic of already having done the other one, this is what it presses out to be. So this is the top and bottom. And I don't feel a need to press that yet. And I'm going to change my bobbin because I might have had enough to do my project, but I didn't want to risk it. Since I already had the bobbin made. Landa says she's enjoying cooler weather and procrastinating fixing and oops. Fixing oopses usually require procrastination. So I have all my fabric laid out. We've seen Russ do this before. This is my... I don't want to have to go up and down to the design wall, so I lay everything up on the bed, and then I just put everything side by side, and that gives me my row, column, whichever direction. And then for the other ones, I just bring them onto. I should probably do a video of that one day, but I need somebody to hold the camera so I don't have to worry. And I am looking down here at my ruler, and it looks like for this one, the 5 inches is at the valley of the pinked edges. I hate pinked edges. Hate pinked edges. But I also refuse to trim down 40 charms. I'm sorry, 5 carat gems into a into the smaller exact size. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do my best to try to keep things lined up, knowing that I got to try to aim for the inside of the valley. And I'm going to hate this the entire set of the project, but it is what it is. And it's a lot easier than Russ having to go in here and cut, what is this, 40 squares out of probably about 15 to 20 different fabrics. I know a lot of people, you get mixed reactions when you talk about charm packs and jelly rolls and other pre-cuts like that because of the pinked edges. My biggest complaint is the mess that it makes. So I do, like I said, I have everything in order. I just need to make sure everything stays lined up. And because this is a single table runner, there is no block, so I can't pull anything out from underneath the machine and say, this is what it's going to start looking like. Might have been smart if I decided to take a photo of this. But honestly, all I did was take I took the project picture and I'm making exactly like this. So it meant that I didn't have to make any decisions as to where any of these fabrics go. And if I don't have to make the decisions, I don't have to worry about it. Somebody else made those decisions. And because we're using 40 of these fabrics, the table runner is obviously 4 across and 10 down. Because that's how the math works. And this pattern is a free pattern. I did find it while I was doing some research over the past couple days. So if you are interested in doing this pattern, whether you do it with Halloween fabric like I'm doing, or if you do it with Christmas fabric or Valentine's fabric or chicken fabric, you can make it, and the pattern is linked in the description box below. I didn't know it was a free pattern when I decided to pull it up. So that was a pleasant surprise. So now that I have my face up fabrics, that means I have done all of row 1. And what I'm going to do, because I've never done this before, is I'm just going to make a giant circle. And I say I've never done this before. I feel like I've done this before. So I'm going to finger press each in opposite directions. And I'm just going to put the next fabric on and sew it. And sew it. It helps if you get it underneath the presser foot. And I'm just going to be making one giant circle. That way I don't have to worry about which direction anything is. Normal people would just cut right here and have a single line. I may end up doing that if it starts to get a little cumbersome. But I don't think this is going to get cumbersome. So how is everybody's weekend shaping up? It's been one of those, I had a 4-day weekend this week. I had Thursday and Friday off. Thursday was an adventure because Georgia requires us to have our emissions checked every year after your model is like 4 years old. So it's either 3 or 4. So I've had to do emissions now on my car for 9 or 10 years now at this point, which is just basically going to a shop and saying, hey, check my emissions. I don't know what kind of magic stuff they check, but they do check for certain things. And they give you this certificate that says you pass or fail. And after that, you are able to register your vehicle for another year. Renew your plates, essentially. And I've been going to basically the same place for the past handful of years because finding a place has been difficult that does it consistently. So, and by consistently, I tend to go to a place and like, oh, our guy's not working today, or the computer's down, whatever excuse for them not to have to do work. I went to my normal place yesterday or Thursday, and they weren't doing emissions anymore, they claimed. I'm like, but the sign up there says emissions. Whatever. They are who they think they are. So went to the other place around the corner, which was actually closer. But I was like, and by closer to home. And they said that their computer was broken. And I'm like, what do you mean your computer's broken? But okay, yeah, whatever. And then I was like, I think I remember this shop, which is also, again, closer to the house than these other places, that said that they do emissions. So I tried to go there, and they said that their equipment hadn't been recertified by the state. And the state's like 4 or 5 months behind recertifying equipment, whatever shenanigans that they are trying to say so that they don't have to work. And I'm like, okay, this all sounds just ridiculous. And before I headed there, I saw that there's a BP station that was a couple lots before this, which I probably should have tried first. And they used to have a car wash there, and that car wash has now been turned into an emissions check zone. They were able to do it, but I had to go to 4 places to get my standard, state required emissions done. And I'm like, this just feels stupid. Good morning, Sue Ellen Quilts. How are you today? So, long story short, I managed to get my emissions done. It just took significantly longer than it should have. But, it is what it is. Life happens. What it just really means is I need a new vehicle so that I don't have to get emissions done. Because you don't have to get your emissions done the first 3 or 4 years of the model. So if I got a 2026 model, I probably wouldn't have to get emissions done until 2030. Okay, I am going to clip this time because this is the last row. And I'm going to have to clip that one too. So I pressed this one to that side, so I'm going to press this side to this side. Good morning, Shannon of Slay Arts. How are you today? Who says, hey, yo, Russ, happy Saturday, everyone. I hope you're having an awesome Saturday, Shannon. Let me clip that one too. That way I don't have to worry now. And this one's going in, so this one's going in. Like I said, the fun thing about having everything pre-laid out, I don't have to think. And what's the last thing you want Russ to do? Think. Okay. So this is going to go out again. And I'm only pressing the ways that I'm pressing just so that everything nests. Cynthia says, happy chatting. See you tomorrow. Yay. Yes. Tomorrow, for anybody who hasn't heard yet, is going to be another session of sewing shenanigans. For people who don't quite know what that is, which there's probably a couple of you, it is a free event that I host randomly. And it's on Zoom only. So it's not shown on the YouTubes. It's not broadcast anywhere. The only people who are going to see your lovely faces are those of us who are... And this is why I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I'm tangled, but I got untangled. So the only people who see your lovely faces are those handful of us who are on the Zooms. This goes this way. And we just sit and sew with each other. Think of it as a just a free virtual event where you can sew with friends. I have really made a mess of this down here. There we go. This one's going this way. So, yeah, what we... Really, Russell? Okay, I did do it that way. And we just sit, sew, and have fun. We've been known to enable each other. It starts at 8:30 Eastern. You don't have to be there at 8:30 Eastern because I know time zones exist. And it goes till about 3:30 Eastern. And we are just sewing and having a grand old time. The only requirement is you need to know how to use basic Zoom, because I can't help you get in. I can't easily help you turn on your camera. And it's worse yet if you don't have, if you can't figure out how to turn on your mic, and we're like, we can't hear you to know what your problem is. I think I got a couple of these backwards with my finger pressing, but that's okay. It's only finger pressed. And we just, have fun. Nobody cares if you're in your pajamas, if you have your makeup on, if you have your hair did. None of that really matters. We just enjoy chit-chatting with each other and having a grand old time. The link for it is sitting in the description box below of this video. It's also in the description box of my vlog that I put up on Wednesday, so it's in that description as well. So if you want to join us, come on over. Like I said, it's not on YouTube, so you're not being broadcast to the worlds in all perpetuity, or whatever that word is. And like I said, we don't care the state of your sewing room. We don't care the state of your mascara. We just want to have a lot of fun sewing with each other. And if you heard me a minute ago when I said, "Really, Russ? Are you serious?" It's because I got my rows and columns mixed up. So what I did is I've got a whole bunch of rows that are pieced together that I now have to sew everything together. What I intended was do it the other way, so I only had to sew 3 long seams instead of 9 short seams. But I can handle this. It's not a big deal. Ideally, I would have probably pressed these. What I will do instead is I'm going to grab a couple magic clips, wonder clips, happy clips, whatever we want to call these clips. And I'm going to clip the intersections together. Everything is pieced, so, and it's webbed. Everything is still stuck together. I don't have to do much thinking. And then I will put a clip at the end. And again, if I had done this so that I had organized my stuff in groups of 4 instead of groups of 10, I would have had fewer opposite seams to do. That'll teach me. No, it won't. I still will end up doing it wrong next time. And what I do once I have everything clipped, I will cut that center loop. And the reason why I clip this loop is because I will be able to twist the seams afterwards. So that's one pair done. And because they tell you to put every other seam the opposite direction, I'm going to be piecing every other seam. Who these they are, I really don't know. I've never met them. But the logic that they say is you have a tendency to do a little bit of a curve when you are sewing. So the hope is if you do one row and then a second row, when you do your second row, or if you do the opposite row, that your every other row the opposite direction, then you are more likely to bow one way and then you will end up bowing the other way about the same amount, evening everything out. Because a little bit of the left and then a little bit to the right is supposed to even out. And I forgot to clip that seam back there, so I'll have to remember that later. I'll notice it when I go to, what's the phrase? Twist my seams open. And this one, and then same thing, second verse, same as the first. And then the last piece. This is actually a pretty fun project. And easy. That's the other important aspect, is how easy a project is. Because if it's easy, you are more likely to do it. And the pressing directions I'm going are my personal choice. You can press, each row one direction and then the opposite direction. I'm just doing ways that I should be able to twist every seam. Because that's how I roll. It makes the back look like quilter's porn, is the way I like to say it. Very satisfying. So lining up. And doing a 5-inch square project like this is so easy because everything lines up, should line up perfectly. Landa says she had her meeting with Jack now to figure out how to fix. Oh, yeah, I've had those conversations. You just got to say, what do I want to do? How far back do I think I need to go? Because I have had, I've done those cotton cuts gnomes, and I've looked at things and been like, I have to pull out all this row, all of this row, and all of it. How do I do this so I don't have to pull out as much as I think I'm going to have to pull out? And at that point, it's like, okay, just don't be scared. I think that's a majority of our self-limiting is just thinking, oh, this feels like it's too difficult. And it's like, as long as you don't think it's difficult, it's not going to be. I've taken classes. One year I did a free motion on your domestic machine. And my classmates are like, you've done this before. I was like, I've not done this before. I just refuse to be scared of it. And if you let your I'm scared of it go away, things tend to work out in your favor. Except for however many years ago it was when I started a Saturday Sampler program, and I probably shouldn't have done that one. But I was like, yeah, I can do this. I could, but nothing came out the right size. I was new in my piecing adventures, and I thought I can do it. I was like, it's just nothing but, triangles and straight pieces. But back then, I didn't have the tools I do now to make sure all of my triangles were the correct size. And when you're doing bear paws, your triangles kind of need to be the right size. Otherwise, your bear paws don't come out to be the right size. And they were pretty intense bear paws. That was one of the Saturday samplers. I flat out said, I'm never going to finish this. It was great learning experience, but finishing was never going to happen. It would probably be nice if I can find all those patterns and do a take 2. But I don't even know if I could do that because I would have to come up with the finishing of that as well. Because I knew I wasn't going to do the finishing, so I didn't buy the finishing pattern. And I don't remember how they decided to finish it. Okay, I have officially done my every other. So it's now like this. And if I flip everything over, I can now do my every others the opposite direction. Can I orphan block a quilt? I have enough blocks out there that I can probably orphan block anything. I have Saturday samplers. I have done Saturday samplers with full intent on finishing them. So I buy the finishing kit. Most of my Saturday samplers that I have done through my local quilt shop, I hate to say it, are 11 blocks complete. I never finished block 12 because there is no, for lack of a better phrase, financial incentive to do block 12 except to get your quilt done. And when I started my journey, I had only been learning how to do piecing. I had not learned how to put blocks together, which is just piecing but bigger. And at that time I had no idea options for finishing because I never learned anything besides the basic YouTube University. So the way I was learning from friends is, I have to, based on my friends that had taught me, I would have to do the quilting myself on my machine, and that was like, I'm terrified to do this. And I did that with I did that with my first twin quilt a handful of years back, and I did Stitch in the Ditch, and it terrified me, but it worked. But I was like, I really do not like this. And that was also during the phase of my life where I was like, do I really want to continue quilting? I was in a distance place and stuff. But once I learned that I knew people who could do the long arming for me before I had a long arm, and that it wasn't an exorbitant amount of money, then I was like, oh, let me start finishing quilts. And for a while I was taking quilts that I had started and getting those finished and all that other stuff. And then now that I have my own long arm, it's like, okay, how do I get time to both piece and long arm? And after everything's done, you still got to put binding on it. And also have to do, chores around the house and stuff still. So we just don't have enough hours in the day when we still have a day job that we got to still work on. Stupid day jobs taking us time out of us. Amy says that she tends to do the same. Block 12 not completed. She's been working through them, though, and turning them into tops. That's awesome. Maybe, just maybe, we can get our Kono one done. That is my hope, because I think that one's going to be gorgeous. I have no idea where it's going to go, or if it's just going to go to a family member. But it is going to be very much worthwhile to get that one complete. And the Kona one is going to be a lot easier to complete because I'm working on it with friends. And when you're working on a project with friends, you are more likely to finish it because you've got that peer pressure from your friends saying, when are we going to get this done? When are we going to get this done? With Saturday Sampler, you've only got the peer pressure for every month to get it done because if you don't get your block done, they charge you for your next block. And I'm like, I'm too cheap. I would rather spend an hour or two to get the block done than pay like upwards of $15 for the block. Okay, almost there. I've got 2 more long seams to do. And it's also probably why I haven't really started many of my block of the months that I have purchased, because I have a couple block of the months that I have purchased with the intent of starting them with everybody else, but because I wasn't working on them with people, I did not start them. And if I didn't start them, obviously I didn't finish them with anybody. So I think I need to start getting some of my block of the months out there. And with block of the month, you have to pay every month no matter what. So there was like no incentive for me to start with a block of the month and get that going beyond, trying to do that. That's in some of my plans, is to get some block of the month started that I have. And obviously when I start them on a Saturday Sampler, honestly, yeah, on a Elevenses Live, I'm going to finish them because y'all will be like, why haven't you finished this? When you have people keeping you honest, it works. Landa says, even when you don't have a day job, sometimes there's not enough hours in the day. I have heard that. And then I've also known the people whose day job is quilting related things, like they own a shop, and they still don't have enough time to do everything that they want. Amy says, yeah, working on a project with friends makes all the difference. She's happy to join me in completing the blocks of past Saturday Sampler. We could hold each other accountable. Amy, it first requires me to find all these blocks. I haven't fully recovered from kitchen remodel over 5 years ago, where I basically shoved a whole bunch of stuff in storage areas, and they haven't been pulled out of storage areas. So it's first organizing Russ's life. If I could find a person who likes, helping organize, that would probably be what I need to start with. In reality, it's really just Russ needs to get the garage put back together. But at the same time, Russ wants to get some storage in the garage. And while a lot of people use garages as like quilting studios, long arm studio and stuff, I don't fully have the energy to, get a split AC unit, whatever they're called. A duct split duct, whatever it's called. Ductless. Installed in there. Not to mention, what I would really like instead is just building a studio. So I've got the rows put together. And because I've got like 5 minutes, I wonder if I could hurry up and get the top and bottom put on. So I'm just going to do this like I did that. I'm going to start. I'm going to line up the other side. I'm going to put a couple of clips on this end, just to try to keep things square. I think I should put a clip on this end to try to keep it square up here too. And I'm just making this a little taut. Got to reach the pedal. I hope my seams underneath aren't flipping. And I don't have my last piece pressed, but at this point I don't think it matters too much because I'm not lining up any seams. So let's see, I start here, and like I said, I got to keep it square, so I will clip here, line up the bottom. And then one more to keep it square. Amy says she'd happily help me organize my UFOs and whips. Looking at Billy bookcases. Ooh, I need to get Billy bookcases. I like this storage thing. It just doesn't fit larger things very well. I was not thinking about larger things when I purchased it and thought that it would work well. Okay, line up. And look at that. I have done a table runner in an hour. This is almost as fast as those 10-minute table runners. It needs a serious press. Where's my mouse? But, you know, there's the top. And it scrolls up. Or if I can do it side to side. Like I said, it needs a serious press. I need to figure out what backing I am going to put on this. And figure out when it's going to get put on the long arm. Maybe I'll have an idea of what backing I want, and in 2 weeks when I'm at the quilt shop for Saturday Sampler, on an off week, I can probably see if I can find a backing for this. Amy says that, yeah, the doors for storage along with a few other IKEA. I love IKEA. I love it to pieces. They've got all kinds of cool stuff. The problem is I have a really small room in here. I really think it's 10 by, or it might be 12 by 12, but I really think it's closer to 10 by 10 in here. So I don't have a lot of spare room. People think that I have a whole bunch of room behind the camera. I don't. I have a corner behind the camera. So there's going to be a lot of that while I'm working still in this area. When I build out something, obviously I'm going to have a lot more room because I will be able to build out what I want. I'm assuming within other limitations and stuff like that. I'm just checking to make sure my seams will twist when I go to press. And they will, as long as I do it correctly. So anyway, that has gotten us to noon. And, you know, other people want to go live throughout the day, so I don't want to take up their time. Thank you for joining me. I will be back on Wednesday with a pre-recorded vlog, but don't forget, everybody, tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern it starts. It goes to about 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Come and go as you wish. If you can get here at 8:30 and want to join all day, that's great. If you can only do for a couple hours anywhere within that time frame, do whatever hours you want and just excuse me, and just join us. The link to the Zoom is in the description box below this video and this past Wednesday's vlog. If you are part of my email list, you have gotten the link directly sent to you. So join us. If you want me to be added to the email list, you just send me an email and say, can you please add me to the list? And you will be part of the firsties to know about all this. So hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, awesome week, and, you know, enjoy having fun this weekend.